The animation for the Waterman is created by Bent Image Lab. So when I first saw the script for the Waterman, and in particular the segments that are animation, I got very excited and I realized this is going to be something special. When I found out that David Oyelowo would be directing it as his first feature film,
that going into lens is the language we're going to pick up.
It was just a wow. I've been such a fan of his acting work over the years. He's such a gifted performer that I'm very excited to be working with him as a director also. One of the things for me that was important was having a producer that really understood the creative process.
As a producer, my objective is always to protect the creative vision and really tell the story that David wants us to tell. And on top of that, find the best talent and the best creativity to go around to fulfill that.
Chel found a special way of collaborating with David that was very open. Because of this, Chel found it easy to interpret David's unique vision and then translate it into animation terms as he led our team.
A big part of our objective was to really capture the imagination of the 12-year-old hero in the movie.
His passions are to be a graphic artist.
We see his drawing in other parts of the film. He's sketching in a notebook. The animated telling of the myth of the Waterman, that comes early on in the film.
One day, Edward found a rock vein no one had ever seen before.
It's really about the Waterman who discovers this magic stone, but there's a flood that happens, and he is pulled away and his wife Sarah is pulled away, and they both drown. When we see the sort of water has gone away and we see the bodies of the people in the town, it's a pretty grisly moment. And there's the Waterman, Edward. We're coming up on him and we see the glowing stone in his pockets. We realize the magic properties of the stone have brought him back to life. And then at that point, he essentially becomes the undead. He spends the rest of his life looking for his dead wife, Sarah, with the stone, knowing that he can bring her back to life.
The animation adds so much more value to the mystery behind the Waterman and how Gunnar is taking it all in, this information about this spooky man who lives alone in the woods.
The artwork that's in the movie is drawn by a man named Dan Schaefer. In fact, he showed the actor, Lonnie, how to make those kinds of drawings. So I got Dan to do storyboards for us. And we had this amazing voiceover narration from actor Alfred Molina.
And well, death is a strange thing, Gunnar Boone.
Now in animation, you usually do your editing up front because you don't want to do a bunch of work that ends up on the cutting room floor. From the animatic phase through the final cut of the completed animation, my editor, Brent Heiss, was present for the entire process. He was the glue that held everything together. The way I was thinking about doing this animation was it would be derived from live action. We got Ted Rooney, a great actor. He plays the Waterman in the rest of the movie. Well, I thought it'd be great to get him in the big coat and all that, and then have him go through these different actions that we needed in our animation. So we see him with the pickaxe. We see him walking through the woods. We see him swimming and drowning. I was blessed to have an animator named Sam Neiman on the project.
Working from reference, it really helps inform timing, and especially if your character is acting, watching that performance for an animator is incredibly informative.
We brought it in to our animatic. In some places we sort of cut it out and moved it around in ways to make it look like he's drowning and swirling around in the waves. That goes to the animators who then do a sort of stylized tracing of that image, and then they'll do an entire sequence that's based on the live action. That was a big part of what David and I explored, is to what level do we carry over the look of paper and the look of pencil. We needed the final result to look like it was hand-drawn by a super talented 12-year-old kid.
We did a lot of experiments in the computer trying to figure out how to make that look like pencil on paper. Shockingly, the very best way to make something look like pencil on paper ended up being to work with pencil on paper.
Chel switched the whole storytelling device from white paper to black paper. to show time had progressed and where the waterman was in his life story.
But that created some challenges because a big element of animation when you're drawing one frame after another on paper is what's called onion skinning, where you can see through the paper to the drawing underneath. With the white pencil on the black paper, you couldn't see through the paper very well. Another challenge was that the white pencil did not erase. So if something didn't go right, you'd have to toss that page out and start again.
I was also very blessed to have Tina Sue on the project.
A lot of the designs in the live action wasn't exactly animation friendly. For example, if a person was swimming, the footage we got was not a person actually swimming in water and shot underwater. When an animator takes that footage, we have to go through this mental process of making it look correct. I take the general body movement, animated that first, and then look at the fur and how it interacts with the body and kind of fill in the blank. All you can trust is like your instinct as an animator to make sure that it works.
You would think if you film somebody doing exactly what you want, that you could just trace over that and then it would be just right. To my constant surprise, it's almost never that way.
We couldn't necessarily train a deer to come back from the dead and run away. Sam had to freehand that one, which he did beautifully. Once we had the full animation all drawn digitally, we printed out every single frame. Sometimes there's as many as 12 frames per second. Once we had them all printed, our artists then were tracing over each single frame.
One of the beautiful things about this project was that there was a lot of creative exploration. It wasn't all figured out at the beginning, that we got to try different things to really find the look of the film and the voice.
We had a lot of opportunities to pitch in different ways to tell the story.
A lot of times in dreams there aren't hard cuts or dissolves, it just sort of happens, one thing goes into another. And so when you see the waterman chipping away in the mine and then you go to the next shot and there's a little tiny transition there. And then later on the waterman is swimming and the bubbles come off of him and come up and turn into leaves that have fallen from the trees. One flows into the next. That was really appealing.
During Sarah's drowning scene, it's our only touch of femininity throughout the entire animation. And she's still so goddess-like as she's losing herself in the whirlwind of the flood.
It was important that we captured a sort of essence of Sarah in that moment.
Her life is disappearing in this water and it transitions to him trying to like hold on to it. And I like that part.
To me, it really shows us how in love he is with his wife. It stands out to me so much, and I think most people that watch it, that might be their favorite part as well.
We try to minimize cuts. We try to connect all the shots together with some kind of transition.
Animation is so collaborative, and it's such a fun process because you get to include a lot of different people into an output of a single beautiful thing.
There is an element of trust. I was given some space to just do my best work and then pass it on to another capable artist.
It was tremendous fun to try and work out these problems. How can I use my skill set, my knowledge base, or create new things to try and achieve that vision so that everybody's happy and we can get a result that is going to look great on the screen.
I think it really captured the spirit of Gunner. It was so important, and I felt like we got there.
Working with a creative director like Chel, we get to really make sure everyone is heard and create a really beautiful product.
The sort of sense of a dream place made it very special to me. For me, it has a lot of soul.